Okay, hunter's chicken, or chicken chasseur as it's known in France. I'm doing a version I've just perfected over the years, so I don't claim it to be the French one, I don't claim it to be the German Jäger sauce, but for me it's just hunter's chicken. And what I'm doing is I'm just chopping up some garlic, get it up fairly fine, get that up onto my little plate, and also want to do the same with an onion, get that finely chopped up. So let's feather it. And get the veg prep out of the way, because the next stage is just browning off the chicken the lazy way. So at this moment in time I've got my oven, it's heating up about 200 degrees Celsius, about 400 Fahrenheit, and you've seen the video on chopping onions, and if you haven't, then get down there. It's all on my channel, so get a look. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share and comment if you do like it. Alright, I've got here, it's about 1.6 pounds or 0.75, 3/4 of a kilogram of chicken. So work that out. It's 5 generous chicken thighs. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run some slits down the chicken. Two things: it helps take the seasoning better, and it also helps it cook quicker. So I'm going to do all those now, just to cook the slits down the length of them. There we go. And we can just chuck those straight into an oven-proof casserole. So I'll start lining that with them. So you need an oven-proof casserole dish, and try and get them as close to the bottom of it as you can. And I'll just add these in and leave a bit of room for that last one, and then I'll season them when they're in the pan. So this is the lazy chef's way of doing it. Let's get that out of the way. Okay, give that a quick wipe and get the chicken there so you can see it. We'll leave the lid off for the first process. Okay, and just into that we want some cracked blackjack, some cracked black pepper. You know me and black pepper by now, I love it, so I'm going a bit nuts. You do exactly as much as you like, because it's yours to eat. And get some salt in there as well, just moderate salt in, and get that in. And don't forget, we're adding salt in the form of chicken stock, because depending on what stock that you're using, if you've made stock ahead of time, you'll know exactly how much salt is in it. So adjust the salt accordingly at this point, because it is a casserole. You've got to kind of eyeball it and see how much salt you've got. You can sort of add salt in, stir it into the gravy at the end, but it's probably better if you know how to cook it in. Right, so at this stage all I've done is I've put a little bit of oil on there to help it along, and salt and pepper. That goes into my oven, 200 degrees, and it's going to have to bake off until the chicken starts to brown. The next thing I did, there's about 4 generous cups of chopped mushrooms. You can use chestnut mushrooms, or these typical just standard tunnel grown field mushrooms, which are rather good. Other good mushrooms to use are portobello, or the big flat tops. You can use shiitake mushrooms if you like, but it doesn't make it terribly authentic. Alright, I'll come back to you now as soon as the chicken has browned off. Okay, while we're waiting for all that to happen, just to reiterate what we've done, we've got about half a white onion, half a medium-sized white onion in there, chopped finely. We've got 2 cloves of garlic, chopped finely, and we have about a tablespoon of tomato paste, of tomato puree, as we call it in Britain. Okay, you've got your 4 cups of mushrooms, I've got about 20 ounces of good quality chicken stock, and I have about 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, which I have just mixed with a little bit of water to get it so that it lifts from the bottom and looks milky, ready to go. This is a lazy chef method. Lazy. I'm not pretending to be a classic French chef. I'm just showing you the quick way that I get excellent results from this delicious classic dish, European dish. Okay, Hunter's chicken. Time for this second phase. Here's the chicken. The chicken's arrived partially cooked, and more or less cooked through, but not browned, not completely browned. As you see, they're pretty much cooked. I'm just going to take them out and put them in the lid of my casserole for now, because some of the juices and fat that's been given off by that process we don't necessarily want to eat. Right, so as you see, there's quite a lot of juice and fat in the bottom of there. I particularly don't want to eat that, so I'm going to pour that away. And into there goes back the chicken. In with the chicken. Try to keep them the right way up because it looks better in the finished dish. And on top of that, what we want to do now is I want to get everything apart from the mushrooms into this bowl. So in goes that, in goes the garlic, so in goes the tomato, the garlic and the onions all together. Stir that together. Lazy cook method this. Give your cornstarch mixture another stir to lift it off the bottom of the cup, because it does settle after a while. And then tip that in there, so it's all going in to the stock, to the chicken stock, and now that is ready to pour over the mushrooms. Put the mushrooms in. Easy dish this. Now those mushrooms will start to cook down, alright? But this is a casserole dish, so it's easy peasy. Pour it all over them to make sure that the moisture gets in there. So that's all the stock, all the mushrooms, and the rest of the ingredients are in there. Now, we did all our seasoning already, so that's ready to go really. We just need to bake that now for a little bit more time. And I would probably say round about another maybe 30 to 40 minutes, but we'll see. We'll have a look in the meantime. I'll get that back in the oven. Back in the oven, only this time with the lid on. Alright, and we'll give that 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, we're 40 minutes into the cooking time of the casserole. That is the chicken chasseur casserole, and that's after we put in the stock and the mushrooms. And as you see, I'm giving it a stir to see how it looks. It already looks delicious, but our family tradition and really the regional tradition of this part of the United Kingdom is that we like a thicker gravy, a bit like you guys down there in the southern states. So to that end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get about another tablespoon, it was 2 heaped teaspoons actually, of cornstarch, mixed with a little water again. I'm just going to put that in there and stir it around a bit. It might even start to thicken a bit more in the actual heat of the pot. But this is just a standard glass Pyrex style casserole dish. Just make sure the last of that's gone in, because that's already starting to thicken up nice, and I think now that's the final thickness. And I'm just going to pop the lid on that and put it back in to the oven, and I'm going to turn the oven down only about to 2/3 of what it was before. So it was on 200 degrees Celsius, which was 400 Fahrenheit. So I'm going to turn it down to about 2/3 of that. So maybe say about 325 Fahrenheit, somewhere like that. Yeah, 150 Celsius, something like that. It's not terribly important. I just want it to continue developing flavour. So that's going back in the oven, and I'll show you the final dish as soon as it comes out.